Okie dokie. Good morning. It's Casual Thursday.
I didn't know what to do today. And yes, for anybody wondering, just because I'm wearing a t-shirt does not mean I'm not wearing the skirts.
Yeah, she's wearing the skirts. She's not. Yeah. Oh. Good morning. How are we all doing this morning? Welcome to Thursday Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
Thank you for being on cue.
Takes all week, but you know. I feel by Thursday I kind of got the hang of this.
I never do, but it's all good. Love winging it. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I am the owner of Sun Dragon Art Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion at Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina.
I feel like some ladies who tried to come shop with us yesterday were not aware that I was the owner. But, you know.
She looks 12.
As Liz said, the pigtails don't help. I think this is pointing more towards me.
But it's a pandemic, so, you know, you do what you got to do.
I need to contain my hair. Well, today I washed my face and hands. I did. No, I washed my hair this morning. I washed my hair this morning, and I wanted to capture some of the curls that no one ever sees. So I was like, swish, and a little bit. It probably does not show up on camera, but I have like 3 strands of fairy hair.
Actually, it looks like you have a lot of fairy hair left,
really?
Compared to my one strand, which changes side depending on which side I part my hair in.
Because it's coming out in fistfuls right now, and we haven't had Aaron here since February. For people who are joining us from far away, who've never been to the shop and don't know what fairy hair is, it's this silk glittery strands. It's wonderful stuff that Erin of Mountain Fairy Hair, shout out to Erin. She's out in Black Mountain. She would come here. We were known as the fairy hair spot in Brevard because she would come once a month. We would book up all afternoon for 10-minute slots, and she'd tie these in. They're tied to individual strands of hair. This used to like roll off the tongue because everybody would ask about it, and I had the whole thing down. And she hasn't visited us since February for obvious reasons. It's indoors. It's close contact. It's a lot of people hanging around.
And we haven't driven over to Black Mountain for a private appointment.
No, she did start doing them again, like any salon, you know, with masks and everything. And it is it's not like going to get your hair done where you're there for 2 hours getting your hair dyed. Because shout out to Brett. I love him, but I have not gotten my hair cut since February. I was about to at the beginning of March because he started at a new salon and life fell apart. And I was like, nope, sorry, not you, not personal, not traveling or going to a salon. I digress. Squirrel. Fairy hair takes like 10 minutes to put in 10 knots, which look like 20 strands on your head. And I was overloaded because every month I would get 10, 15 new knots. Yeah. And I still have some left. Let's look a little bit of purple. So, yeah, but it does make me look like I'm not quite half my age, but close, maybe 2/3 of my age. And then people see this beautiful, young-looking face, and they assume I'm not the one in charge because how could someone as young as I am, not as young as I look, be in charge? But.
And then, you know, I wander around in my dresses, and they're like, "Oh, she looks crazy. She should own a yarn shop."
Not
and I'm
crazy.
Like, it's not me.
No, you look crafty. You look handmade.
That's because they are all in.
See, so they see. Yeah, Susie Homemaker must be the one who owns the yarn shop, not the woman in t-shirts and jeans. Anyway, not that I'm bitter or anything. I'm not. It's just funny. It's like. We always tell the story of when we were over in the little shop, and a woman came in, and Liz and I were there, and Carol, shout out to Carol, our official mignonette, yes, was helping us put stuff away. And this woman went straight to the oldest looking person. No offense to Carol.
Carol was wearing a proper
Oh, she was wearing like a cute
summer
little
dress.
summer dress thing, you know, and I'm still in my jeans and I'm not in my teacher attire. And she started asking Carol all these questions, and Carol kind of looked over at me like, help. Yeah. And she told this woman to talk to me, and the woman really gave off the vibe of, I have been passed down to a lower peon, when she didn't know she was getting possibly the most experienced person in the shop helping her. And that's not to say that she was getting no experience. I like to think I have a little bit of experience. Anyway, but
you have more than me and Carol.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you help a lot of people and you do a lot of stuff. You gain a lot of experience. Yeah. So, because I'm the teacher, and people will often contact the shop and say, well, I need to hire a teacher, or can I get a lesson with one of your teachers? And it's like, that's me. Like, some people open a shop and bring in people to teach because they're good at the other stuff. I opened the shop because I like teaching, because that's what I do, you know, and then I hire people to do the other stuff.
Except for computer work.
Yeah, there's a few things I've kind of, either because I'm a little OCD about it.
Control freak.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to get mad because it's the truth. So there's things I kind of need control of because it's my business, and I'm a control freak. And then there's stuff that I'm just better at. And not downplaying Liz's skills. She's better at picking colors. I mean, I can pick colors when push comes to shove. But sometimes I just go, Liz, because she'll pick really cool colors I hadn't even thought of, and they'll be amazing. So, and that's not the only thing Liz is good at.
Stuffing boxes. I can fit
bins.
10 bins of boxes into one bin.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while,
she does it all.
She wants to try. I'm like, it's not as easy as it looks.
I still do it. I don't do it well. But like what's the hole here? This is Liz's wall behind us here. Liz's pretty wall at this point. My pretty wall, or my version of it, I arrange the notions kind of. That's not on camera. But we're at a point where there's so much to do. I'm kind of tackling this, and I'm gonna mess it up royally because it's not my wheelhouse, but it is my shop. So, you know,
I can't tell her, get away from my stuff.
You didn't enunciate that fully clearly, so we might get away with, like,
we'll have to go back up. Sorry.
I might just make the video mute there. I've learned how to do that. I didn't hear a bad word. I heard the hint of a bad word.
It's her shop.
We can be sailors when we're not on camera, by the way. Just to be clear about that. We have our moments. Especially with sometimes the people outside. Not customers.
Rocky Mountain Coffee Club.
Yeah, they try, but they don't realize they're still upsetting us. Anyway, I digress. Especially if they watch, I'm sorry. It's just, we're in a pandemic. Things are going to annoy me that don't suit pandemic times. Like, can we just come in and look around? When you're standing in front of 6 signs that they probably hadn't had a chance to read, but that's why, take your time during a pandemic, read the signs. It's important. Moving on. Before we get to, we have one letter that came in. I know we said yesterday we didn't have any letters. We have one. It's going to give us lots of different offshoots to talk about, actually. But I wanted to make sure I didn't forget, because my brain is still in various states of knitting and unknitting, and who knows at this point. I didn't forget.
Hydration and dehydration at this point also. It's
probably, yeah, water. I think I drank a little bit on camera yesterday, and I don't know, that might have been all I drank yesterday.
I don't think I drank any. I'm paying for it now, but you know.
Yeah, there's all kinds of reasons that things are happening right now. Anyway, but I can see like 4 half-drunk bottles of water from where I'm sitting that I can drink later today. I just need to do it.
I think I'm going to set an alarm. Shout out to Carol.
Shout out to Carol. She used to set hydration alarms for us. It was annoying, but it kept us in better senses. Anyway, as I was saying, I wanted to make sure not to forget, this is our last chance to plug this month's Saturday Sit and Stitch. So we have our nightly sit and stitch every Tuesday and Friday. And once a month, this is our third time doing it. Once a month, we're trying a side-by-side Facebook Live and Zoom sit and stitch on Saturday from 1 to 5 Eastern Standard Time for the US. So what this means is there's two ways you can hang out with us. We have the regular Zoom, which you use our shop phone number. I think the details will be in the comments. Use our shop phone number to join Zoom, 828-877-3550. I'm much better with that than our zip code because I write it a lot. Because, you know, we publicize this all the time. The Tuesday, Friday things. So if you go into the Zoom app and join, and it says, what's your meeting code? It's our shop phone number. If you're used to just clicking a link, I think we're going to have that in the comments below. I put it on my newsletter. It's zoom.us/J for join / phone number again, 828-877-3550. So from 1 to 5, I call it the magical portal, will be open. And you can join when you come, when you can, leave when you have to. It's not like, oh my gosh, I don't have that whole window of time open and available, so I can't do it. Join us for 5 minutes. If you want to see other people and your internet connection is good enough to join, come to Zoom. That's the way you can kind of hang out with everybody, like visually, as well as auditorily. And then Facebook Live is a great option for people whose internet connection is not as strong because it's uploading and downloading on Zoom, and that takes a lot of internet strength. It's a way to kind of tap into what's going on. The downside of that, in my opinion, is Facebook Live, you are only going to see me. It's not like a Facebook group or anything where there's a bunch of, you know, because that has the same video issues for everybody, for internet connectivity, draining your strength. You will see me, and I'll be trying to show off different projects I'm working on and talk about different things. I think most people who've joined the Facebook Live can hear the Zoom, because Zoom will be on the computer I'm filming on right now, and Facebook Live will be on my phone right next to it, and we'll make it work. But it's just another way to have the community and tap into what's going on at the shop and have a little bit of the Liz and Rebecca show live.
I'll be on Zoom.
She'll be on Zoom. You can hear her. We'll be bantering, but you only see me. And, you know, we'll all have to deal. So maybe I'll do my hair again. We'll see. I don't wash my hair very many times at this point, and I've already washed it twice this week, which is like
play the game.
Crazy. Huh?
I might play the game.
The washing the hair game?
Wearing my hair down game.
Oh, that game's fun. For anyone who watches this, people on Zoom might not actually watch this fast enough. The moment, so Liz wears her hair down or like half up, and the moment says, oh, Liz, your hair's down, it looks pretty,
it goes up. So it's the game to see how long.
How long will her hair stay down? Okay, so that's my plug for that, because I forgot to do that yesterday, and I think I mentioned it Tuesday, but who knows? If you're watching this a month from now, you have a chance to join next month. Don't worry about having to catch up on stuff. Life is crazy. So we did get one letter, and it's going to give us a few things to talk about. And this one's handwritten. I think it's adorable. Oh my gosh, it makes me think of back.
All handwritten. We haven't gotten a typo.
Then why do I? This is on lined paper.
It's on lined paper.
It's making me feel like school, which is great.
That's what's different about it. It's on lined paper.
I'm sorry. They've all been handwritten, and they've all been wonderful.
Yesterday she was like, "It's handwritten,"
and she was probably like, "What's your damage, Heather?"
The other ones were on like note cards
or stationery or yeah.
And it's amazing that people can
too.
actually get lines that are practically straight across when they write. I can't
do that.
But this one's online.
Did you check your email this morning?
I have not.
She's going to check her email, but we're going to start talking about this just in case someone emailed us an emergency question or last minute. Okay. And by the way, this is addressed to me anyway. So it says, hi, Rebecca. I have a question for you regarding Tunisian crochet. Topic 1. My friends are making the maritime striped shawl enclosed pattern. Topic 2. And many have finished it. It is very pretty, and it is. Yes. Well, this is my first attempt at Tunisian. Most of the pattern is rows 40 and 41. When my friend taught me pre-COVID, she showed me row 40 and said, repeat it to 123 loops. Well, I did, but I never checked the pattern, and it showed row 41 also. That's topic 3. I won't remember these numbers, by the way, but it's okay. Would you possibly be able to demo the stitches on this row? Topic 4. I know this is kind of personalized, and if you can't, I understand. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Careful in Conisty. I love people coming up with fun names and ways to sign these. Conisty, I live out in Conisty. That's, I guess you could call it a development. I call it the Rabbit's Warren, south of town, where it's sprawling mountainside. You can get lost in there. It's great, but it's a gated community we live in, technically. It's not like super secure, like watchdogs and stuff. Anyway, I digress. Careful and honesty. So careful and honesty. Thank you for writing. There's a couple of different things. I might go backwards through this a little bit for the different things we're gonna that this raises for us that we can address here. It is kind of personalized, and I won't be able to show you the stitches here for a couple of reasons. Actually, not so much going backwards. It's going to bounce around and answer these topics a bunch of the time. So showing a stitch here on the sideshow is not ideal or really going to be helpful for you, I think, because the camera is so far away. And like looking at what Liz is doing, someone might go, huh, she's knitting a different way than I am, but they may not be able to see in great detail how she's knitting or figure out how they can knit like her because it's so far away. So I'm going to say, I'm sorry, we can't show you the stitch on camera. We could attempt to do that as a lesson, one-on-one help, which we can do over Zoom, which is great because then I can get my phone really up close in my hands and I can turn the phone around.
See, so, like you're looking down at
the like right now you'd see the backside and that might be really confusing. On top of that, the second reason I'm not going to show you any stitches here on camera is going back up to the top of this about Tunisian crochet. Tunisian crochet is not in my really good wheelhouse. So for people who don't know what it is, I've done it before, but the last time I did it, I think was right after I moved down to Georgia. So it was about 7 years ago. Tunisian crochet, I actually got out 2 of the Tunisian crochet type of hooks that we have here in the shop. The straight one we have a lot longer than a regular crochet hook, right? And then, but this one's actually kind of short for Tunisian crochet if you're doing like a shawl, like in the pattern she sent us.
My husband bought me a Tunisian crochet hook. It's about this long.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you realize that's not from Tunisia, right? Like,
it's not just because
he thought it was like a foreign
fancy crochet hook.
And that one's cool.
This one's cool. So this is one of the longer like cable cord Tunisian crochet hooks. It's kind of, again, this is why we don't show great detail on the show, is it's got a crochet hook on the end and then it's got a cable and a little stopper. So it's like a knitting cable, but a crochet hook. And the reason that these are longer, in theory at least, than regular crochet hooks, Tunisian crochet, I like to think of it, and some people might be like, it's not at all. I like to think of it as a combination of knitting and crocheting. Because crocheting, you pick up and do a stitch at a time as you work across, and you're done. I like to say you're done when there's 1 loop on the hook. Yep. Tunisian crochet, you break that rule because you go and you pick up loops in different ways all the way across, and then you work back, you pull back through them one at a time. So you go across and come back in one row. So you need room, like for a shawl, for a whole bunch of stitches, and then you can pull back through them. So whereas in crochet, I'm like, it's great because you're down to 1 loop and you can rip out easy and all this other stuff. Tunisian crochet, you actually have to keep track of a bunch of loops, like in knitting. However, if they fall out, they're not going to run down your whole fabric like knitting. They're going to go 1 row because you still have that stop of going across and coming back and going across and coming back. Whereas in knitting, you got to keep track of those loops the whole time.
I always tell people knitting goes loop, 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 loop.
Mm-hmm.
Crochet goes down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up.
Now, Tunisian crochet does go like knitting, you go loop, 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 loop if you're going flat, and then you turn it around so you can go across it the other direction. Tunisian crochet, you pick up this way and you go back the other way. You don't necessarily flip it around. So that addresses some of the reasons why we're going to answer what we can with this, but we can't show you stuff. I took a look at the pattern. Now, here's another fun thing about patterns. And for some people, patterns, they're like another language. They have all these abbreviations. It's like learning a new language.
I think of it like shorthand.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
absolutely.
My grandma used to do shorthand. So it's like you look at what she wrote in shorthand and it's like, there's no way I could read that because I don't know what that means.
But she can read it.
But yeah. And once crochet and knitting and Tunisian crochet all have a shorthand to them.
And she did photocopy a page of the pattern for me. Thank you so much, Careful and Honesty. I appreciate that. The issue is any good pattern, I always say, will have a key to what the abbreviations mean. And there's still patterns that won't have a key that aren't the best, but I'll still make them because what they make is pretty. This one, it looks like there's abbreviations in it. It's part of a book, and there's probably another page of the book that explains what all the abbreviations mean, which when Tunisian crochet is not the thing I'm the most well-versed on, that creates a challenge for me as well. However, when I looked at this, and I looked at rows 40 and 41, except for the very beginning, they're pretty much identical. The difference is row 40 is with color A, and row 41 is with color B. So that's the biggest difference. And the other thing that might be catching her up is like, I've been doing row 40, but 41, oh my gosh, what's happening? I didn't do row 41. The difference, other than saying with color B, is in row 41, there is a little thing at the beginning that is about how to pick up and start with color B so that you don't have a weird carry of yarn between A and B. That's what I'm seeing is going on without knowing what all the terminology means in this. It's trying to give you a way to switch colors without having a weird funky thing where you switch colors. So Liz is doing surgery.
Well, my stitches got pulled and I'm listening.
Oh, surgery. Knitting surgery, because that doesn't always happen with crochet. Anyway, so from what I can see is there might be a couple other things going on in row 41 now that I'm looking at it as well, because row 41 looks like it's got some decreases in it. So if she's only been doing row 40, it looks like there's a picture on here that has kind of a ridge in the center. It looks like if she's only been doing row 40, she may have a triangle shawl happening instead of one that's got a little ridge in the center as well. So again, that's the kind of thing that it's better one-on-one, or it's better that I could maybe film a tips and tricks. Although what I tell people on the tips and tricks channel is if it's really particular to one pattern, that's a conversation we should have rather than a video with when I'm only making one video a week. I like making videos on overall techniques that can work for lots of different patterns. This looks really particular. And like I said, there's things in here called TSS2 together, which sounds like a decrease. And there is TKS. There's lots of things. There's a stitch guide here, but I'm not seeing, there's like modified returns, which is when you're coming back through Tunisian crochet. I'm not seeing and actually it says here, see the glossary on page 76 for terms you don't know. So there's another page here. So there's missing pieces to the mystery for me to really be able to help Careful and Honesty. But I definitely appreciate that she wrote. Let me go back to, I think that covers a lot of the topics I wanted to cover from this letter, but I definitely appreciate it. It gives us philosophical things to talk about on the show. which is that very thing of figuring out patterns and language. And I feel like there were other things I wanted to talk about and I've forgotten because there's a lot to talk about. But like I said, I think like as I'm analyzing it, as I'm talking to you on camera, the row 41 has an increase. It has a marker and some decreases that are going to give you that ridge in the center. So if you've been going along and doing row 40 and it's been growing, then you have your own version of this. If you don't want to rip it out, you have Carolized it. It's what we call a design element. It makes it very unique to you. If you wanted to completely take it out and figure out how to make it exactly like the pictures with that fun ridge in the center, I would recommend we do a lesson. I do outside lessons, even though it's not in my wheelhouse, like my current wheelhouse. If I had all the terminology, I would figure it out with you, or I would figure it out before I meet with you, because that's my thing. I'll tell people. She's great at that. I don't want to toot my own horn. She just did it for me. Thank you very much. But I like challenge, so I'd love to do that. Wednesdays and Fridays at 10:30, we're doing outside lessons. However, you schedule those with me in advance, and I'm booked through September 9th right now. But we also have Zoom. For some people, Zoom works really well. For some people, they would really rather see it in person or have me have the ability to grab it and not fix it for you. I'm a big fan of, I will show you and talk you through it and probably have you do some of it, if not all of it, because I want you to learn instead of me just fixing it and handing it back to you. That helps you, but doesn't help you in the long run. That's like the whole, give a man a fish, feed a man the fish. Teach a man to fish. I've exhausted the capabilities of my brain right now. Give a man a fish or teach a man a fish, or a person or a woman or anyone, if you learn how to do it, even if it takes quite a few tries and quite a few visits, it's better than if I just fix it and hand it back to you. Because then you become dependent on me, and that's not the point. As much as that might, keep giving me $15 every time you want to come get help. I don't want to be your crutch. I want to be your support system and your safety net. And there's a minor pandemic going on right now. So like, if you learn how to do it with Rebecca helping, or, then if anything, exposure's limited. Yeah, exposure's limited, but like, if anything happens long term and you can't go out anywhere, or we can't, do in-person lessons, you have that skill built up that you're not like, well, I have to put this whole project down because the reason she's writing is because she was taught pre-COVID, and now probably she can't get the help she needs from her friends because she's being responsible and not going over to her friend's house. Good for you, careful and honesty. I appreciate that. So like when we meet outside, we've got masks, even though we're outside, because if I'm going to come in close and help you, we're going to wear masks. And if we can't do that, I'm going to have to figure out a way to help you with a long Tunisian crochet hook pointing at things. So, with a strong breeze. So, anyway, no, thank you for that letter. Because again, it helps guide future letters as well. But please, careful and honesty. If you're like, no, I want more of an answer, or I actually want to work on this, and learn what has to happen in here, contact us. Let's, come out of the shadows and do a lesson. So, but everybody's got questions like that. You're bored? Well, I'm bored with knitting. Which we should transition, because we got about 15 minutes left before the Vikings descend. And Liz's latest fascination, which is not something you can start in the shop, or you can get supplies for here in the shop, has been, although we're working on some of it, has been really fun. I'm going to let her talk because I've talked for like a while. So my squirrel, and Kathleen, shout out to Kathleen. Kathleen's like, you guys have, teased for long enough about it, and nobody's ever actually brought stuff on. But she's like, Rebecca teases with, you went home and spun, and nobody gets to see it. I'm not trying to tease. I'm trying to be like, we don't sell it in the shop. I don't see. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not bringing it in. But then I was like, I will. So I spun
this is just like 3 of my little things. I got a blending board.
Spinning. So talk about what spinning is.
Spinning, so there's lots of different ways to spin, but 2 main ways. You can drop spindle. I have a bottom whirl, which the weight's, anyway, and then there's a top whirl.
Okay. Do you talk about what spinning is?
Spinning is taking sheep that's
I don't know, because I'm trying to knit while we're doing this. That's good. I can't focus.
It's been carded into long ropes, and you can pull the fibers. Like all the fibers are going on.
That's just so cool. This is not my wheelhouse.
Pull it, and it'll get longer and thinner. And
I want to make a point that it's not just like she grabbed that off a sheep. There have been steps.
No. They shear the sheep, and then you pick out all the stuff out of the sheep, because sheep don't get bathed like every day.
I wash my hair.
Sometimes sheep get bathed before they get sheared, and sometimes they don't. And anyway, but you get the fleece. Like, I watched him shear my neighbor's sheep, and it was so cool. The guy walks in with he's got electric clippers.
Oh, he had the electric. He didn't have the big chomps.
He had the electric clippers, and he goes into the pen and he grabs a sheep by the horn or the, neck, not meanly, but like, hey, come with me. And the sheep goes, okay. And then he grabs it by the armpit and flips it over on its back, and it goes, oh, and it just kind of hangs out. Like, it's like tipping a shark. Like when you tip it upside down.
Tipping a shark.
You've never watched like Shark Week on Discovery or whatever?
No, I know about tipping cows.
No, if you take the shark and you tip it like that, it'll like hypnotize the shark.
Okay.
Anyway. Sorry.
May I remind, we have 10 minutes so we have to answer the phone. I don't want to rush you because I just took up so much time.
Shave the sheep, pick out all the bits, wash the roving, and then you comb it on cards or on a drum roller thing.
We watched that on Knit Night. It was so cool.
Into long roving. They call it roving.
Pencil roving, kind of.
Well, pencil roving is where you take the roving and you break it down into smaller pieces.
Okay.
And then you can pull on that to spin. And then I got a blending board, which is like a giant dog comb for those who have it's 12.
You had to like staple it.
I had to staple it to a board.
To a real board, so it would be firm.
You can take all your roving bits. Like, I've been buying up the little bits here at the shop and on Etsy, and
which is why we can't sell you anything, but you can find supplies somewhere else.
So you comb them all onto the board, and in fun patterns. It's really relaxing, even though Kathleen, shout out to Kathleen, she's like, it sounds like you were taking your aggression out on it. And I'm like, no, it was really relaxing. Like,
which means maybe she was, and that's how she was relaxed. It's okay.
So, oops, I'm just going to go.
Look, she made
all those.
That's so cool. Now, this is not yarn.
It's not yarn yet. So, like, to make it yarn, you pull.
This is so cool.
And then you can feed it into a spinning wheel. Like, spinning wheels, your feet do the work, and I drop spin.
Just so y'all know, her feet just moved when she said that. You can't see it on camera, but her feet went. They did. Continue. Sorry.
So anyway, so I don't spin like normal people. I spin kind of funny. It's weird. Yeah.
Like, I would be able to tell the difference right now.
So you can pull, and it. That's so cool. I'm spinning a little.
Yeah, you can. Can you all see that? That's. Well, I was just pointing to what's hanging.
Well, it's so now that I've done that, then I take and flip it around and attach it to my spindle so that I can wind it up, and
that is really cool.
And it twists, and then you can go and ply the yarn and whoops.
And that happens sometimes too.
Yep.
But her spindle is spinning under the table there. And trying to do that on camera and have you see and lifting up and down, is probably why it just broke because
No, I wasn't paying attention to
never mind.
how. Anyway.
I told you it's not my wheelhouse.
It's because all of the hairs are in one direction. And I mean, on this, it's rolled up, but when you pull it out, you can thin the yarn edge before you spin it. You can just pull it thinner.
It terrifies me. I think I would just, it would all go.
Sometimes it does. And then you're like, wait, or there's
Oops.
big lumps or whatever, but you know, and then you just.
And then you can just like attach it back in and spin it. Like even if it comes apart, that just mystifies me. And I think it's the coolest thing ever.
It's
so cool.
So I used to do it in the car when my husband was driving. I could sit in the front seat and drop spin. You don't get it.
That's about it.
I love my drop spindle. It's completely portable. Although everybody on knit night has spinning wheels.
She's a little jelly.
I'm like
she's a little jelly.
Maybe I do need a spinning wheel. But packing my spinning wheel into work, like, just it's more effort.
To and from work, yeah. Well, and how much time do we really have to do stuff here at the shop other than what we're doing on camera right now? Like, I'm getting a couple rows done on my sweater.
Or 2 at a time sleeves.
It's a little tangly, but you know.
She's doing 2, you're doing 2 circular needles.
Yes.
So
I'll show that off before we depart. But look at all these pretty colors. Like, I don't want to mess this up, but look, it's like squishy. It's squishy. And this one's got some sparkle in it. And this one's all neutral. And oh my gosh, they're so pretty. She's making her own yarn. It's great.
These ones I made last night with the it's not merino. It's
BFL?
just roving gangs
Just
of
roving
sheep
gangs of
from
sheep.
the front, but they're fall colors.
It's not merino. That should be a brand name. It's not merino. Because everyone's like, I need merino, I need cashmere. Guess what? It's not merino.
So I looked up, or I've been looking at cashmere roving because I was like, wouldn't it be cool to put cashmere in my yarn? And yeah. Yeah.
Expensive?
Yeah. Like I found a couple of D-stash ones. It's like $13.
What does D-stash mean?
Like somebody's getting rid. It's like with yarn.
D-stash. I thought you meant the letter D. Like there's A, B, C, D. There's grades of stash. No, as in de-stashing, getting rid of. Okay.
And on Etsy, somebody is selling 1 ounce, which is like 100 grams is 3.5 ounces. So 1 ounce is like a cotton ball amount, kind of, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
And for $13. And
1 ounce is not going to get you 1 ounce of yarn.
No.
It's not like, okay, 3.5 ounces of yarn. That sounds, 100 grams. That sounds like tons. 1 ounce of roving will get you a bit of yarn. So because it goes.
Yeah, like those blankets that everybody sees that are the great big chunky yarn.
Someone got schooled on Knit and Chat about that, and it wasn't. I didn't school them about it being roving, and it's gonna fall apart.
A lot of them are roving, so
it's like trying to knit with this and hoping it stays, and this is squishy, and hoping it'll still keep together for life.
So yeah, like
sadness.
This is thick. I had a girlfriend who made one of those blankets out of this. And they pill because the fibers aren't all together. I mean, if you pull on that, it's gonna just thin it.
I also had someone on Knit and Chat this morning who wanted to know about a soft yarn that won't pill.
Doesn't exist. Plastic tube.
Or it's really, really acrylic-y something. Because pilling is when something is softer, like not spun as tight. It's gonna pill. It's gonna have little soft flucky things are going to come off of it when you rub against it. And the way you prevent pilling is you spin it tighter. And when you spin something tighter, it's not going to be as soft.
And even tightly spun stuff has the potential of pilling. Like if you look at the underarms of a love
especially
t-shirt,
if it's natural. Yeah.
Or
like
jeans.
Dye rub on jeans.
Yeah. And people forget that. It's like,
Yeah.
everything will, if it's
People
fiber-
want magical things and unicorns and fairies, and we can't always give them
What was
that.
it? Your magic box yesterday? Was it
Yeah.
yesterday?
It was Tuesday. I was like, I wish it was a magic box inside where I could go in and find you anything you wanted. And since we're not letting people in, they kind of think that's what should happen. If we don't get to go in, then you have a magic box that you're not letting us into. And we don't. We should go. Well,
you gotta show off.
but I have to show this off. So my sweater, and yeah, hot mess of strands. My sweater I showed off before, right? I have started the sleeves. And the sleeves I am doing 2 at a time, which just means I'm doing them at the same time. With if I haven't finished it on Tuesday, I'll show you more about it. But see, they are on the same 2 cords. I did a tips and tricks about knitting in the round on 2 circulars. I have half of each sleeve is on this black cord, which is my likey needle. And half of each sleeve is on the clear cord, which is my Addie needle. And what I'm doing is I'm knitting across 1/2 of each sleeve and stopping and picking up the yarn for the other half of the sleeve.
That's what I should be doing with my red sweater.
And I just have to make sure I remember to switch in the middle. So one sleeve is the inside of this ball and one sleeve is the outside. And I was doing that with the yellow as well. And then I realized to lock it in and do the stripes, that wasn't going to work. They were going to get so tangled. So I took my cake of yellow and I did this at home without a scale. So, and I'd already started my sleeves. That was the fun part. So what I did is I rolled the ball off the inside. It was already attached to my 2 sleeves. I rolled the ball this way off the inside and I rolled the ball this way off the outside, trying not to get them tangled because they were attached to my sleeves too. And it was like, I'd go 100 wraps on this one, put it down, 100 wraps on this one, trying to find the middle.
You're so daring.
And Brian wanted to talk to me and I was trying really hard not to yell at him because I was counting. And then and then once I rolled them off and found the middle, I broke it because it's merino. I could just go and pull it. And then I had to unroll it into a new ball off of that. And one of the issues that happened with that is this started going all over the place. And the part that was attached to the sleeve, the yarn that was attached to the sleeve got all kinked up and twisted. And I had to figure out a way to untwist that without undoing the whole ball of yarn again. That was most of my, I want to say Tuesday night. After knit night was spent doing this because now if things get tangled, these guys I can individually untangle. So, whew. Okay, we need to wrap up.
We do.
We love you all. We miss you all. We hope you will write us letters because we'll answer them on Thursdays.
35 South Broad Street.
35.
Yeah, 35.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was trying not to talk over you. Dear Becky and Lizzy, Sun Dragon Art and Fiber, 35 South Broad Street, Brevard, North Carolina,
28712.
Thank you. Okay. Or you can email Liz. That'll be in the comments. But please write us letters. They're so fun because then I somehow don't remember that they're all handwritten. I don't know. And join us for Knit Night, Friday night, 6 to 9 on Zoom. Or join us this Saturday in the afternoon. That will be so exciting because hopefully more people maybe have time because it's the weekend or because it's not late at night. Thank you for being part of the community. Please be part of the interactive community if you want to. We'd love to see or hear you or write or read your comments. So excellent. Have a good weekend.
Like us.
Regardless.
Subscribe.
All that stuff. 401 subscribers. We're so excited. Let's keep going.
And stay tuned for more adventures of Liz and Rebecca next week.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Will I finish this? Will Liz have yarn?
Will I finish this?
Will Liz have a whole bunch of yarn? Will she make one giant skein from this? You'll have to tune in to find out. I'm done. Okay. Look, I brought my pocket home yesterday, and I remembered to bring it back. So I can take people's credit cards today. I am ready for the Vikings. Let's do this. Okay. As I roll my ankle.
It's 10:02 and no one has called.
Bye, everybody.